As imperial units entered Mexico in a bit of a chaotic operation, the UN and a bunch of other countries did a brain trust to devise a plan on what they're going to do about the current situation. Eventually, they came up with an idea that they'll attack Mexico, or the now occupied Mexico, but as separates, not really as a team. So, multiple detachments of remaining units on the Earth set out and battled against the right now outnumbered Imperial forces and decimated them at lightning speeds with an almost unfair ratio of eliminations or kills. Australia and New Zealand took the liberty of occupying Mexico as France came under a surprise attack. The outnumbered UN forces there called on for help, and in response, 2 countries jumped at the scene to protect France. Germany and France raced in at full speed, and it kind of looked like World War I all over again. However, this time, Germany and France were working together, and they slowly pushed the Galactic invaders out and back into the open space or seas, where they would stay for many, many years to come, or so they thought. Once the Space Invaders were pushed out, there was a breaking point in Spain, once NATO and UN forces finally broke through the enemy blockade. They had been under siege and under fire for so long. Now most of the Imperial forces were decimated, and with that almost fell complete Spain. They weren't done yet, as thousands of casualties would still fall throughout Spain, but eventually, under the careful planning of new General Finn Morrison, they slowly pushed out the Galactic invaders, inch by inch. However, in the chaotic operation, there was a lot of crossfire, and many of their own kind perished due to friendly fire. But eventually, the Allied forces did push the Galactic Empire out. However, in Australia, they again came under a surprise attack. And the Australians, in desperation, were no match. However, there was eventually a stalemate with trench lines running all across the country in a bit of a chaotic operation. However, New Zealand wasn't as lucky as they too were under fire against these space invaders. New Zealand units were diverted from the southern island, and they did have initial success. However, enemy reinforcements sought to shatter any remaining hope that they had in a quick and miserable fight. The New Zealanders were pushed back to the southern island, and by each attack they were left with less and less men to the completely outnumbering enemy force. Many people thought it was unfair. However, UN, NATO, and Australian forces were either occupied or couldn't make it in time for the fast blitz that these space invaders had just made. And with that, New Zealand fell to the space invaders. Australia and many other countries were understandably very angry, and they didn't let another country fall. China was the next target. However, though being not part of NATO or the UN decided to make a compromise. They landed many troops in China's territory and started to push the space invaders out. However, this was very slowly done, and there was a tremendous struggle with a great loss of life. But eventually, the space invaders were pushed out of China, and China was safe for now. Anyway, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. And, yeah, I really hope you enjoyed, again. And if you happen to know anyone that would like this, please share it to them, and bye!